May we please have your attention?
This is A2B2 Radio.
A2B2. A2B2 Radio.
You're listening to A2B2 Radio.
We are back. This is A2B2 Radio, episode 7. Can't believe it. We're 7 episodes in. It's not like a big number, but it just kind of feels like a fun number. Like, I don't know, 7. Big. We got we have a very special guest with us today who has helped curate this episode. We have Daedelus in the building, kind of, virtually.
Hey, I appreciate it so much, and 7 is no small feat. It means that the 6 previous didn't run you all off the road, and I'm so grateful to be here for just what will be a bump in a much longer journey I'm sure you all are on. But that being said, the kind of quality of work that was summoned, I'm in awe. You have a great community already fostered in whatever way I could have expanded the circle. It was thrilling. It was really, really good. I don't know if your listeners out there know, but we've been like really having a hard time. Maybe it always is this difficult, but really poring over all the submissions and just being shocked by how everyone deserved inclusion and having to settle on the numbers. I mean, I'm great at like the people who were here, amazing, but so much goodness had to be like left on the cutting room floor, so to speak.
Yeah, it's literally like the hardest part of this entire show. I think
it's worth mentioning, and I don't want to droll on too much about this, but sometimes you may submit something that deserves to be played, but it just doesn't fit in with the scope of what else is happening.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a recording artist who's done many records, and I have lots of B-sides that just never make the cut on a certain album because it doesn't fit the viewpoint. And much like the moment we're in history requires certain sound responses, you might be making music that's just either ahead of your time or a little bit like deserving but behind the moment, and that moment will come back around, and the future will catch up to us and all those things. But just have to give it up for the people who the 16, 17 tracks on this particular episode for meeting the challenge of history right now, let's say. Yeah,
seriously. It was spot on, Alfred, as I'm sure you will throughout this entire show. Well, all right. Anyways, we gotta just hop right into this. We have, as Alfred said, about 16, 17 tracks here. So we're just gonna play the first one. This is Ruby with the song My Turn, version 273. And yeah, here it goes. A2B2 Radio.
This is A2B2 Radio.
Fun, baby.
Gee, thanks.
I'm sorry.
What the fuck was that? I'm changing the fucking station. Seriously, I don't know what the hell that was. Everyone fucking left it.
get up to date for British manufacturers.
So that was Ruby with the song My Turn V.273, and there's some other like symbols in the song name. I'm not even going to try to say them. But Daedalus, what'd you think?
I'm in awe. I'm shocked and like aghast and somewhat repulsed, but in like the way that you want music to resonate. Ruby is someone I've known now for a little while, but long enough to be like, there's a shocking amount of material. So it's like one thing to know the person, another thing to know the music. And what she's doing is like all the onomatopoeia. I can't wait for more, but it's already coming in like in a deluge, and it's already coming in like it's like waterfalls. So, you know, don't need to hold our breath. Ruby's got us.
Awesome job, Ruby. And that is coming off of the I Will Giggle EP. That is to be determined when that is coming out. But you can find her online. And she just wanted to give a shout out to Richard, Alfred, Marcus, and Michael. And of course, you can find Ruby on A2B2 as Ruby. So find her on there, and you know, just keep an eye out, as I always say, because you know, this the whole point of the show. We're trying to get you to find these amazing artists, and here's one of them. So coming up next, we have a person returning to the A2B2 radio airwaves after quite a while. This is Gianni Earth Angel with the song ID 20220513 on A2B2 Radio.
A2B2 Radio.
That was Gianni Earth Angel with the song ID 20220513 Daedalus, what'd you think?
Yeah, when I originally agreed to be a curator for this episode, this is what I was looking for, to be quite honest. Like, an unknown to me, thrilling, that also resonated with the A2B2 ethos, I guess, if I may. Like, I did one of the first, broadcasts for y'all. Yeah. And the curation that was going on was like really incredible. Like the kind of disparate voices that you all brought together, somewhat fractious, somewhat like not necessarily the normal curation wouldn't necessarily imply us all to be in the same mix. And that is the same thing that I thought must be happening in terms of the community. And it's true. It's like the submissions are all over the place. And Gianni Earth Angel really like stood out in this kind of like, I have no idea what their personage is. But their music gave me an incredible insight that could be proven wrong. It could be that, there isn't all of this mythology that I can immediately, but their name and the song itself just gave me kind of goosebumps. Mm-hmm. And it drove me to want to find more. Like it drove me to Bandcamp and like grab out more and like kind of start to go further down the rabbit hole. But yeah, this is Gianni is the reason, like that's fulfilling a promise that I wanted to see manifested. And it's true. It's like so many of the submissions kind of did that to a degree, but like, yeah, Gianni's was like very clarion, noisy, mischief making. And yeah, I'm eager for more. I'm like hungry for it now.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw you on Twitter where like on your one of your famous Bandcamp Friday threads where you let everyone know who you're listening to. You gave Gianni a shout out and everything, and I think honestly that's a big reason why I wanted to have you on the show and why I thought it would be a kind of a match made here. Obviously, because you were on the Night of Fire 1 show, which was legendary and kind of the genesis of this whole radio show. But your commitment to kind of putting a spotlight on people like this, I think, is really important. So, great pairing there. But that.
Earth Angel made it easy. That's all we have to say.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're here for. So Gianni Earth Angel coming to us from North Carolina. That was a single that is just, planned to be out possibly, but he did want to let us know, expect to hear more music soon. So there's stuff in the pipeline. And you can find Gianni Earth Angel on A2B2 as well. Gianni Earth Angel. So next we have one of my picks for the show, but I still think such a solid track. This is AFK with The Leech on A2B2 Radio.
A2B2.
A2B2 Radio.
I'm a yo
that was AFK with the song The Leech. And they're coming to us out of Hudson Valley, New York. And they have an album coming very soon. I love that stuff. Obviously, if you look at some of the artists that we've been putting on the radio show and who we're going to release on the label, it's just like, if you got some dark beats and someone yelling, you're going to make Bort happy. But I don't, Alfred, what do you think of that one?
No, it's a classic combination, and there's a lot of, even though that space is somewhat explored, you could say that there are certain artists that come to mind that are very associated with A2B2, maybe that kind of were the genesis of A2B2, that are the blueprint. But it's fertile ground. let's just say that there's some significant group that is very associated with the website that kind of are the blueprint. But then that being said, it's like there's lots of space to still find dimensionality, and I for one, I feel like we have to have the courage to yell out sometimes our prerogatives, to like make it more realized in the world simply by like making it loud in people's ears and demanding attention. And it isn't an everyday occurrence. It's supposed to be something that happens in the top of the night. It's supposed to be something that like you listen to loud in headphones. It's like that's the space by which it commands. And this whole website generally is that energy, which is a lot. But you know, I think for the people who find it, the people who find y'all already, and myself included, it's like, oh, that's why we need community, because it is not an everyday occurrence.
Exactly.
Yeah, AFK is doing that with this.
And that is coming off of their Casualty EP that came out last August, so just about a year old, but still feels new to us. And you can find them on A2B2 as Be Nice BX. And coming up next, we have a song by Chandler, Baxter, Tipton, and this is called Switch.
You were listening to A2B2 Radio.
You're listening to A2B2 Radio.
A2B2 Radio.
And that was Chandler, Baxter, Tipton with Switch on A2B2 Radio as we consider this beautiful episode of episode 7.
Episode 7. Ooh.
I do have the backstory on them, but what I will say just from the get, I am thrilled by what is electronic pushy beats, and to have such an amount of change up, of switch up, of like enunciation. I could chew on that music, right? It had a tooth to it, as they say in the food world, and plosives and teeth, not words that I think music theory would traditionally give us, but dang, that song did. I'm grateful.
And that was coming off of his most recent project called Chandler Baxter Tipton Food Court Detective. And he is currently living in Santa Fe, New Mexico. That came out in December. And yeah, so, Chandler Baxter Tipton, crazy music. Go check it out. Obviously, there's a whole project out there that you can listen to. So whenever I say listen to it, I'm being serious. Go listen to it. Now we have a song coming up by Auxiliary Phoenix called Petrified, featuring James McDermott on A2B2 Radio. That was Auxiliary Phoenix with the song Petrified featuring James McDermott. And that came out this June. So just this month, out of Ireland, some Irish jazz electronic fusion. Actually really crazy. What did you think of it?
No, the fact that you put it as jazz electronic fusion is apt, and it is a different kind of, it's like a different flavor of what A2B2 radio kind of stands for, and maybe in some ways the freeform nature of it, the kind of it doesn't fit easy categorization, even though we might use these genre terms, but I just found it to be beautiful, and beautiful in that kind of way where I don't know where it sits or rests. I don't have that much to like compare it to, but it got me somewhere. All the artists on this episode, brought forward something that felt specific, and yet I also couldn't find them on the map if you had given me the globe. And to hear that they're from Ireland, it's like, what scene did that thing? Or, our previous track from Santa Fe, New Mexico, like New Mexico doesn't sound like that to me. Like, parts, these things just, they stand apart. And, again, good that you all found each other online, because kindred spirits and souls across the internets can do special things, as we've all kind of learned. But yeah, that song in particular jumped out at me. Amongst the many different submissions that did have kind of a band flavor, that one really strikes me as being something where it's like, oh, I bet you they sound amazing live. I bet you it's really good live.
So that is coming off of their album Petricore Deluxe that just came out this month. So go check it out. Again, thank you, Auxiliary Phoenix. Coming up next, we have Visceral, spelled with the like VHSCERAL, Visceral, with the song Mirror Test on A2B2 Radio.
You're listening to A2B2 Radio.
A2B2 Radio.
so that was Mirror Test by Visceral. And that is just, I love that, like, kind of, you know, Southern California kind of like beat scene kind of vibe going on behind it. It's really cool.
The funny thing too is the initial moments just are kind of like, oh, this is cool, this is fine. I'm given a worldview and I'm in a mood, and then the switch up, it feels enormous, and it's totally because you were lulled into a sense of understanding that the switch up is so working. If they had just done it 8 bars, it wouldn't have been the same thing. You have to be in it for like that solid minute for it to then like explode.
Totally.
It's I mean, I don't know how old this person is, I don't know how many records they've done, but it's such a mature move. It's such an incredible, like, to have that patience as a steady hand.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is like, it really takes like a true kind of talent to make an intro to a song just as like impactful as, you know, the switch up portion of it too. Like, to keep you hooked for that long is so cool. So really into that. That is actually coming off of the Info Hazard Renraku compilation album that's coming up pretty soon, which is dope. I'm sure there's a ton of other artists that are on that you should go check out. Renraku is amazing, one of my favorite labels. So really happy to have something from that on the show. And you can find Visceral coming out of Ridgecrest, California. Shout out to Donut Friend, says Visceral. And you can find them on A2B2 as VHSCERAL. I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was VHS Carl the first few times I read it. I'm happy to hear it's Visceral, but I was full on ready to call you VHS Carl going into this episode. I want you to know, if you're listening. So consider that. That could be a fun side project for you. Anyways, Daedalus, any final words on this one before we hop on over to the next track?
I don't know. It's just, you know, it's the kind of things that, like, there's a bunch of tracks that are unique, but then also just don't exist necessarily in any other kind of worldview. And that song, like you mentioned, it's like very much my heart. I kind of am rocketing from the LA beat scene, even though I don't live in LA currently. And so much of like where my ears are at always wants that like head nod, that weft, that woof.
Totally.
And that's was great for, and we'll hear more of that kind of sound throughout, because I mean, just again, can't not be ourselves at all times. Seems the undeniable truth.
Absolutely. And I think actually the next song that we're going into literally is like proving that even more. We have G-ODYSSEY with the song Gain and Bias on A2B2 Radio. don't even know, like pre like Cosmogramma Flying Lotus kind of shit, like all in one.
Sure. I can give you a list of artists that are similarly natured that are kind of doing more stuff with like sound design rather than just the beats themselves. I mean, Ross G would be a person who would do that in a slightly different way, not as blown out, but like there's Alejandro spelled with a 3, and then also Anton J. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it's kind of spelled like that, from Montreal, and like these just like bizarrely pushy beats that are amazing. And just me a lot of that. But.
So cool. Well, hello audience. You've come in on our conversation post song. That was Gain and Bias by G-ODYSSEY. Some bass and hip hop coming to us from Lenox, Massachusetts. So not too far from you, Daedalus.
No, and like you wouldn't suspect Massachusetts would have it in it. I mean, I adore some of the beat stuff that I've done actually in Mass, like Roseanne and some others are really lighthouses for what Boston can do on beats. But dang, pushy, loud, cantankerous, just noisy, and still being really felt is a cool hat trick. So G-ODYSSEY, which also sounds like G-ODYSSEY sounds like you should be listening to some sort of Laragi ambientness, and suddenly it's like no, it's loud. It's the most loud, demanding beat you've heard all day. So grateful for that.
Totally. I actually thought when I read G-ODYSSEY, I was expecting like a G space like 140 like festival trap banger kind of scenario. So I like that our brains went in like two completely opposite directions on who this could have been, and I'm happy what it ended up being.
Yeah, you keyed into the G and I keyed into the Odyssey, and I want to believe there's a universe where there's somewhere out there somebody doing the most rhythm banger track that has like an ambient drop in it. Yeah.
Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and say this now. We're doing the next episode, A2B2 Radio episode 8. We're doing a full ambient episode because we get a lot of ambient selections that get sent to us, but it's never right for the show. So I'm like, full ambient. So maybe now's the time. If you're listening to this and you make music and you want to be on the next episode, just submit a track that has the most insane 140 buildup you've ever heard, and then just drop it into the nicest, like, finger guns up until it's just like grand. I just want one note.
Just one textural pass through wavetable, FM synthesis, and granularization. Paul stretch that
there you
the
go.
Rest of the rhythm track until you're running through a arboreal forest in the middle of.
Daedalus just gave you all the sauce for this, so I hope someone was writing that down. Go do that. Anyways, thank you, G-ODYSSEY, great track. And coming up next, we have one of my favorites that we've had on the show, Gutter Punk, with the track "Don't Quit Your Day Job" on A2B2 Radio.
Thank you, I love
Don't quit your day job. Till you get enough money in your bank to pick it back up. When you think the hard work is gonna pay off, so priceless, kindness, consuming life. Why can't I just have a sit in silence? Why can't I just have a sit in silence? dance it. Okay. Thank you to everybody. I've been gutter punk.
That was Gutter Punk with the song "Don't Quit Your Day Job." That's got to be like the 4th or 5th time that we've had this guy on here, and I will continue to put him on the show because he continues to send us amazing music, and also like just busts his ass to make music videos for each of these episodes too. Like there was not a music video for this, and then we hit him up and we're like, hey, we want the song, and he was like, all right, I'll be back in like 3 days. I got to shoot a music video. So it's, I mean, just that commitment. I love it. But yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing where it makes sense that they would have a visual representation then that would match the audio that's going on because it is fully composed. It's like every aspect of that is well thought and conceived, even if it's kind of loose sounding and kind of fizzing at the volume, right? Like it's there's something about maybe someone who's has like that cool confidence comes through in the track. So I appreciate that massively. And I don't know this person's age or their pedigree, but they're summoning something that people were dropping in like 80s kind of punk, let's say, or 90s kind of angstful rock of many stripes that I don't think has been really like accessed too well in subsequent eras. Now that isn't to say that it hasn't been like fully, there's been genres that have come up and died down ever since, but just the individual proprietor of a whole sound space is not like a thing. So it's really cool to see someone kind of banging that drum. I'm into it. Again, having no concept of their imagery, and yet to hear that they would make a video for every song, it's like, oh, of course, it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Just full commitment. And that actually, he has a full album that just came out back in April that I'm recommending to you, but I'm also recommending to the audience, like, go and listen to it. I think we've played like quite a few selections from it at this point, but truly just a great album. It's called Punk Everlasting, and that is off of the Anti-Energy label. And yeah, you can follow him on Insta and Twitter at Gutterpunk, no E or U in the name. And keep an eye out for more. Obviously, if you listen to this show, you'll hear what's next because we'll probably be playing it. Coming up next, we have Ximena, the song Fairy Dust on A2B2 Radio.
This is A2B2 Radio.
A2B2? A2B2.
What have I done?
A2B2 Radio.
It's the only word for us.
Go to a2b2.org for more.
You're listening to A2B2 Radio.
That was Jimena with the song Fairy Dust. I think Alfred probably agrees, but like one of my favorite tracks in this show for sure. It's really out there.
I mean, it's a like a whole conundrum of things, but much like her, and I'm grateful to have known her now for a little while, or known of her long enough. But like audio is scant, and that's a crime right there. Like the fact that there isn't more of these sounds that we can enjoy from her. So I'm hoping that she gets the message that the fact that we're all fizzing on this means that there should be more, and that hopefully this is just the beginning of what could be like a lot of EPs and albums with this kind of source material, because we went on a little mini set of like beats, right? We've been on like this little like kind of like sidebar of like beady kind of stuff, and this does such a nice thing of like including the voice in the beats, and it all feels like a big synthesis. And I can't wait to have this be part of like a really cool CV that she's already assembled. So thank you so much.
And you can find Jimena coming from Pembroke Pines, Florida, but she is currently living in Boston. And you can find her online at Jimena. So it's just like say the name twice, like spell the name twice, and then XIME. And then same thing on Twitter. And you can see them playing in Providence on July 6th. I do not know if the show will be out by then, so cut that if it's not out by then. But go see her at AS220. Should be a great show. I can't imagine what that would be like live, so I really wish I could see that. Sounds awesome. Coming up next, we have BELLTOAD Fearless with the song New Man on A2B2 Radio.
A2B2.
A2B2 Radio.
Into a 7.5 foot long, 54-inch wide. Let's go!
That was BELLTOAD Fearless with the song New Man, some digital hardcore coming to us out of Nashville, Tennessee. Daedelus, any thoughts?
It's funny using the term digital hardcore. It really does remind me of the kind of wild creativity that label actually held. I don't know if you're familiar with Atari Teenage Riot or the kind of
totally.
stuff. The stuff that was swirling in that stew was really inspiring to me when I was coming up as a musician, and to hear it's echoing still throughout all of music in the most unlikely of places, from the kind of gritty, grimy sounds the UK and US are doing in the drill scene, where they're still like sampling the same sound sets. They're still like playing with the same break beats and broken up sounds to like the most gutter punk that now has to reckon with digital techniques. But then you have something like this where it's like, oh, this is a sweet spot. This is great. And it really does like shift direction and focus in fun ways that keeps me checked in. Hopefully listeners out there felt the same.
That is coming off of their album Bela Lugosi is Alive and Ballin'. And that, you can find them on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, all the places you get your musics. Check them out. BELLTOAD, Fearless. Thank you for sending that in. Coming up next, we have a song. We actually have a remix of a song we've had on the show before. This is Feather with the Lapsung remix of Sick Shooter here on A2B2 Radio. That is Lapsung remix of Sick Shooter by Feather, coming to us out of Denver, Colorado. So much good bass music coming out of Denver. But the genres we've been provided, actually, Space Cowboy Core, Silicone Saloon, Red Dust, Ragtime.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Colorado, for spicing up our genre titles. Thus, I would only assume that the West is playing a role, but Lapsung being from the UK and bringing in their own take on the bass sound to do that kind of remix duties is rad, and it is like I would say a lot of the music we've been playing is although like loud and demands attention, has been kind of the thing that I would like to put in headphones, versus this song is our first like tear out, like play on a huge system, watch the crowd go crazy kind of thing. And maybe that's being reductive towards the other music. I would hope that everything would have that effect, but this is like, you can really feel it very viscerally in that direction, and not to make light of Visceral, who was a contributing artist. This is going to get confusing after a while. It's the truth. There's just something to this particular one where it's like, oh, I want this on like 18 subs in front of 2,000 people.
That song just came out. That song actually came out last year in October, but Lapsung just released a new album on June 18th via Alpha Pup. So if you like the remix, go check out the rest of his stuff. It's all really cool bass music, really kind of future-y stuff. And Feather is planning on heading out on a West Coast tour sometime this fall. So if you are looking for someone to perform, he says hit him up. He needs some new areas to hit. So get in touch. That's F-ETHER. And you can find them on A2B2 under the same name. And if you haven't heard the original song, go check it out. Six Shooter, great track. Coming up next, we have Nato with the track Mercedes, A2B2 Radio.
You're listening to A2B2 Radio.
A2B2 Radio.
Louder, louder. It's cold as fuck. I never said I was proud of my lyrics.
Yeah, I said fuck you if you ain't pay me. Fuck you with your Mercedes. It's a cold, cruel world. Fuck your girl till she calling me baby. Spin around, do a 180. You know I like it like that. Said fuck you if you ain't pay me. Fuck you with your Mercedes. It's a cold, cruel world. Fuck your girl till she calling me baby. Spin around, do a 180. You know I like it like that. Said fuck you if you still lazy. I bought a whole bottle for your ass and you still smoking that haze. I guess it's fuck me for trying to save it. The night's still young, get dumb cause we going out, baby. My new bitch slim, thicker than the Old Testament. Barbie Testarossa, man, you know you ain't catching it. You know we ain't leaving till we fuck up the whole premises. You know she be screaming when I fuck her in the...
Yeah, right.
You gon' be surprised when your girl gets pregnant and the boy comes out with a speech impediment. I mean, he gon' fuck it up and tilly on the scene with my jeans. He'll be up on every screen, in every rose, in every beam. Buying you a whole ass house for parenting. If I made your ass rich just by fucking your girl, then I expect a thank you next time I'm seen. I said, fuck you if you ain't pay me. Fuck you with your Mercedes. It's a cold, cruel world. Fuck your girl till she calling me baby. Spin around, do a 180. You know I like it like that. Said, fuck you if you ain't pay me. Fuck you with your Mercedes. It's a cold, cruel world. Fuck your girl till she calling me baby. Spin around, do a 180. You know I like it like that. Said, if it doesn't have my full attention, it's dividing it. If she fail to keep it in and out, then I ain't tying it. But who am I to set a fucking standard? I am not equipped. Just another motherfucker trying to untie a dress. I ain't never lying, bro. I'm with my cougar friends. How I'm supposed to act rational if stupid's in and stupid is and stupid does? So all my friends are doing drugs. Nah. Yeah. My watch sympathetic with the Rose and Audemars. My Glock cocked back, put the money in the jar. Need the keys to your car, need the Benz for the Mars, so I can reenact my favorite part from my first song. Fuck. Weren't you ever taught your 1, 2, 3s, your ABCs, the AK-44 plus 3? The more I speak, the more I plead it. Please hurry your ass up so I can hit the back road and sleep. Fuck. Shit. I forgot how the chorus went. Whatever. Yeah, I said fuck you if you ain't pay me. Fuck you with your Mercedes. It's a cold, cruel world. Fuck your girl till she calling me baby. Spin around, do a 180. You know I like it like that. Said fuck you if you ain't pay me. Fuck you with your Mercedes. It's a cold, cruel world. Fuck your girl till she calling me baby. Spin around, do a 180. You know I like it like that. Said
that was Mercedes by Nato. And they're coming to us from Detroit, Michigan. That just came out in May, and that is a single.
I think the phrase that some people might use is it's a bop, just quite simply. I haven't clocked everything that's being said and whatnot, but like I don't think it's meant to be like that. I think it's meant to just kind of be a feeling. I like when words are super poured over and tracks are like, agonized. It is kind of my energy, and so to hear something that is so effortless is also equally intoxicating at times, where it's just like, oh, okay.
Coming up next, we have Untitillated track live from the CRYPTOO by Father Soon on A2B2 Radio. That was Father Soon with Untitillated track live from the CRYPTOO. And first of all, the loudest song we've ever had on the show, like by far, for sure. But I was going to say, I think I feel like this person must have at least listened to Sunflower Stems, like at least once before making this, right?
Perfect. I love it. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there was something to be said for redlining as not an act of dissension, not merely an act of dissension or just like an oversight, but really because you want to grab the listener by their neck and let them know that they're in for it. And this is it. Where there's those beats. It doesn't need much gussying up other than just volume, raw volume. Gosh. Yeah, I mean, I was drawn to it not only because of my like philosophical views about volume, but like it does something. It just has a certain way about itself, a kind of, a saunter, I think they would say. Some would say in terms of if you were looking at this walk, it kind of moves different. And I feel like there's certain artists, even though they're not necessarily worth mentioning, like the Mr. Wazo or something, where it's like, the beats move different. Or if you want to go as far as like a Dilla or something, it's just like there's like a certain funk to it that makes it so attractive. And this has that in like, this is replete, I think is the phrase. This is like full of it.
Yeah, for sure. It has that like Gesaffelstein kind of swagger. Like it's just here. Like it's very present and it's just like fucking hitting you over the head constantly. It's amazing. So yeah, amazing song, Father Soon. Thank you so much for sending that to us. I love that you put the genre as slap.
That's incredibly apt.
It makes sense. That came out April 18th on the album House of Soon. So you already know what I'm going to say. Go listen to the whole thing. And they are coming to us from Australia, Tamworth, Australia. And you can find them on Bandcamp. Their album House of Soon is on there. And on A2B2 as Father Soon. So all around great track. Thank you for sending that in. Coming up next, we have Robbie Rethwish with the song Cause for Celebration, A2B2 Radio.
It's just like deathbed. It's an open flame. Turn it all the way around. It's a celebration. It's a sex life for the middle brain. But leave the same way that she came in. It's a celebration tonight. To grieve, we don't need to
lights go out. Yeah. Oh god, this was one of my favorite revelations of this whole episode. So weird.
Yeah. Just keep going. Go into it.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't suspecting this. Like I think there's something. I was lulled into a sense of complacency that the things that we'd be receiving would be like punky, noisy, like full of hardcore and just like visceral, right? Like these kind of words, these like textures, those ideas. And suddenly you have this like strident, like jock jam anthem, and that sounds maybe like it would be a negative or a pejorative, but like quite the opposite. Like it is so incredibly like a stage piece that the middle of what you think is like a quiet film, or like what's like the jump scares that are coming, and then suddenly you're in a musical. It isn't something I would choose for all of my cinema, but like, dang, musically speaking, this was such a change up. This was huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, I think I was saying something along the lines of like, when I did the particular episode that was like really reviewing audio, and I was kind of recounting, there was something about the song that like all of the best anthemic music from that you see in a film, let's say, distilled into like something that was kind of imperfectly perfect. I don't know if you're familiar with like wabi sabi or these kind of things, but leaving it just the right amount of off makes it really on. Kitsuge, when you fix something with gold, it has a bit of all that like weirdness, and I love it. So
it really is. It's so awesome. I love the kind of like jock jam like comparison, because it has that like, it's like an 80s like montage of like, we're saving the day basically, and it feels like that. It's awesome. The theatrics of it is great. I want to see like a full stage production for that track specifically.
100%. I would almost imagine there is one probably. This band probably.
There's got to be. I need to go and do some research, but basically that came out on July 1st, 2022. So that just came out, and that is some experimental pop coming to us from Minneapolis. If you are in Minneapolis on July 13th, you can go and see them perform. They're doing a release, actually doing a single release show for the song. So what we just said might be true. That is at the 7th Street entry. So please go see that, and someone tell me how it is, because I really want to know. Maybe film it and send it to me, and then I'll be even happier. But again, thank you, Robbie Rethwish. Amazing track. Coming up next, we have an A2B2 staple, Charter Ghost, back again with the track Big Stepper on A2B2 Radio.
before his ego death, before I crash, before I overdose, before the story ends. To the core, I can't help it. What a worthless life have I lived up to now. List the experience Joe Rogan made me. I train reality, alpha male shit. My life be a porno, and when it's over, and when it's all over, this conversation ends.
Was Big Stepper by Charter Ghost. Just some big metal post-punk kind of banger going on. So much noise. I think every time we have Charter on, I think his music just like matures a little bit more and gets even more like next level. So I'm so stoked that we have another track from him here, and obviously just happy to see him progressing as an artist. Good job, Charter. Daedelus, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in Santa Monica, an area called Dogtown, where there was surf gangs, right? There was like literal like skateboard and surf gangs that would protect their waters / keep insiders in and outsiders out in kind of funky ways. And it's strange because there was a soundtrack to that. There was these songs and sounds that came out of that era. But in hindsight, like I didn't participate, let's say, but I had this like feeling for it. And here's this band that I have no idea any connection with any of those sounds. No necessary knowledge they know punk or they know thrash, and yet here I am, like unknowingly, unbeknownst to them, like completely transported back however many years to like what isn't necessarily a comfortable moment, but isn't necessarily comfortable music. So it makes all the sense. And it's a gift to have that like transportation, that like teleportation back through time. But I don't know if I would ever say that to this person in their face if I were to meet them on the street, that their song gave me that. But it is so palpable. I wanted to share at least with the listeners.
Well, your song took me back to the scary times that I had to walk by surfers that you want.
I couldn't boogie board on the off the 3rd Street promenades, Santa Monica Pier, because for fear that I would get stomped by like finned by somebody is. Damn. But it's it's our thing. It's a place. It's a time. And
Charter.
Gift. Yeah.
I can't believe you would trigger Daedalus like this. I'm really excited to hear the full project that this hopefully comes off of at some point. I know it's just a single right now, but I know he's always working, so really excited to hear what else goes on. And I know you sent us a video too that we probably just watched, so I'm guessing that was cool. You can go follow them on Instagram at Charter Ghost, and just keep an eye out, So coming up next, we have our final song of the show, And it's like a really cool kind of like ethereal track. So I think we're gonna like just kind of let it end, and I'm not gonna come in and talk to you guys after, because I think it'll be kind of nice for it to just sort of go out. So we'll talk about the track first. We'll do a little outro, and then you guys will have the song, and I will leave you all to have an amazing rest of your night. But yeah, so we have Drum and Lace with the song PRASIANO. And really, it's such a cool, just laid back track, but there's a lot going on there. But I'm sure Alfred has a little bit more to say than I do.
Yeah, I mean, she's the homie, and I got a chance to know her a little bit in the Los Angeles scene before I kicked out to Eastern coasts. Knowing that she's from Italy makes all the sense in terms of both the name of the track, but also like the cinematics. She literally makes music for film and television at times, so you can catch her work on a variety of like disparate shows, be it action-packed or kind of melodramatic, and really good for it. And then to hear this was a nice revelation that like, oh, she's got other avenues and lanes to which to share original music, of course. Like I knew that already, but like could distill it and kind of stand in this same kind of uncategorizable mess that you've already assembled for us today. And it's cool for it. And honestly too, I'm like in awe that her expanding, it's kind of as mentioned, like people can wear a bunch of different hats and do a bunch of different things, but it's just really neat to see it and witness it in real time. And I've been feeling really apart and away from LA. It's been a tough time to be so distant. I'm sure it's tough for all of us to be going through this moment. And I feel for everyone, and what Drum and Lace has assembled here is kind of like a nice both reminder of what LA can do, but also what she's doing specifically in the space is rad.
Yeah, it's so cool, and it's not something we'd usually play on this show, but I was really happy when you chose it, because it's something I think I would normally be like, I don't know, but it's something I would listen to on my own. I'm just thinking about like the context of A2B2 radio, but I think that's sort of what the show is about. So I'm really happy that we have the space to play it. But anyways, before we hop into the track, this is Drum and Lace PRASIANO. This is coming off of her debut LP Natura that just came out in April this year. And she's from Florence, Italy. So I actually think this might be the first Italian that we have on the show. So crossing another country off the list. This is very exciting. But yeah, so
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been my absolute honor and pleasure to be able to select a handful and just to be part of this process. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. We love having guests on, especially guests that are so legendary and have had such a amazing just footprint on not only the music industry, but just personally the music that I'm really into. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your words and all that. It really has been great. And this is awesome. So we're going into the last track, and then we'll be done. So this is A2B2 Radio episode 7. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
This is A2B2 Radio.